Zach Charbonnet is the best running back handcuff in Dynasty leagues right now. We'll tell you why next.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for highlights from this week's Moving the Game Forward. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. He is Michael Fabiano, and it's a Wednesday show. So, of course, Matt Williamson is here to answer your mailbag questions. We're going to talk about 2-for-1 trades, whether you should be trading with other contenders at all. But, Matt, I want to start with this. This question comes from Jeremy. He wants to know, how do you guys value handcuffs in Dynasty leagues, or do you even bother with them at all? What are your thoughts?
I certainly pay attention, but I wouldn't say it's a priority. You know, like if we're drafting, it would split the tie. I would never take someone in a tier below just because they're a handcuff. Now, one thing I definitely do a lot of, though, is offering other owners the handcuff. You know, I have it on my team, and maybe because a lot of people love it, and it just gets their attention. And I'll throw it in the trade note, like, hey, you want to back up, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. And at least it often sparks trade talks. But I don't go out of my way to say, boy, I have to have all my top guys backed up for sure.
Fabs, what about you? How do you value handcuffs, or do you value them at all?
Yeah, I do, but it depends on the player that I'm looking to handcuff. Christian McCaffrey is not a durable guy. I would really like to have Brian Robinson Jr. behind him. We talk about Ken Walker, super talented, but also not durable. Like, I'd really like to have Zach Charbonnet just to avoid the headaches of if these guys get hurt, what do I have to back them up? And there's also more and more backfield committees around the league. You guys know that. So there are very few true handcuffs, right? Is Jordan Mason a handcuff? No, he's not. I mean, Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, I think, will split work. Is Tank Bigsby a handcuff? I don't think so. That's going to be Travis Etienne, Bigsby in Jacksonville splitting the workload. One of the more recent and valuable handcuffs, I think, now is Ollie Gordon in Miami, with Devon Achane having the calf, although he should be good to go in week 1. I'd like to have him, certainly, as insurance. So it's more about the durability or lack thereof of the starter, rather than like just my pure desire to have a handcuff because I want to have insurance. Some guys you don't need insurance on because they're durable, right? Bijan Robinson's been durable. Now, Tyler Algier is a great handcuff.
Knocking on wood, I should say.
He's a great handcuff, right? Knock wood, exactly. But when you're looking like James Conner, I think Trey Benson could end up being part of a committee this year, but right now he's a handcuff. And if I have James Conner, I kind of want Trey Benson. So there's certain situations where like I do tend to go and try and get the handcuff just in case. And then there's others where I don't. Also, I think you have to factor in this with a Trey Benson. He's got a shot to be the starter at some point in the next year. Braylon Allen, he's not a handcuff, is he? I mean, maybe you think he is. He's got a shot to start at some point in the next year. And so those are also factors in terms of, are they really handcuffs or are they temporarily handcuffs? And at some point they have more value down the line.
So here's the thing that I don't struggle with, but I want your guys' thoughts here. How do you value the guys that are in the really good situations versus the players that we just think are really talented? Because for me, I don't care about the situation as much, because if you have an average player who suddenly gets a start, they're not guaranteed to keep that job. But if I have a really good player, like I think Zach Charbonnet is a good example. We all think Zach Charbonnet is a good NFL running back. And while that Seattle situation isn't Atlanta or Detroit, whenever Charbonnet plays, he's effective. So, Matt, how do you weigh that situation versus talent when it comes to handcuffs?
As a rule of thumb in Dynasty, no matter what position, I tend to go with talent over situation. But maybe that's my scouting background, that type of thing. Maybe that I have a little bit of blinders on for that. And my logic is, I just want the better players. I want the more talented players. I want the faster guy, the bigger guy, the better athlete, whatever. And situations, unless it's like the Bills or the Ravens, just change so fluidly in the league that I don't want to attach myself to a situation saying, boy, this is an awesome situation. Then 6 weeks later, you're like, it's not so great. Everyone's getting fired, So as a rule of thumb, I generally go with talent over situation.
So, Fabs, I want to ask you about Zach Charbonnet because that's who we started the show with. He is currently RB38 on Dynasty League football. He is a true handcuff, right? Like, we don't think this is going to be a running back by committee approach. Like, it's not going to be a 50-50 split. He's going to get touches, but it's going to be all dependent on Kenneth Walker's health. How do you weigh that compared to someone like Braylon Allen, who, again, is a backup for Breece Hall, but we think is just going to get more work?
So first off, obviously you've got to factor in the age, right? In that case, Braylon Allen's younger than Zach Charbonnet, and I also have to look at what the contract situation is of the player ahead of them. Breece Hall's in the last year of his contract. Maybe he's not going to be with the Jets moving forward. Maybe he will. We're not sure. Ken Walker, right? Same kind of thing. Where does Seattle go? Do they continue to keep both of these guys? So that also factors into Dynasty, where in redraft you're not really thinking about that kind of thing. But you always have to be forward thinking here. So, yeah, Zach Charbonnet, talented guy. Certainly when he plays, like you mentioned, he is, you don't miss a step from Ken Walker, maybe a little bit. But typically, if Ken Walker's averaging 16, 17 points per game, Charbonnet is going to give you 14 or 15. So you're good to go there. So the talent is very important, but also opportunity is big too. And you like to have a player that maybe the opportunity isn't immediate, but could have something happen down the line, like a Walker injury, like a CMC injury, like a James Conner injury, where these players are thrust into bigger roles. And once they get thrust into those bigger roles, then they can prove that, hey, I should be at least part of a committee or maybe the starter at some point in the very near future. So I like a mix of that.
Marcus, I kind of jotted down a few names and I put them in different categories, so like Charbonnet is an easy one. I think we all agree that's the top of the list. But I also put like a Rico Dowdell in that situation, like a slightly watered down version where the starter's an every week starter in fantasy, but if he goes down, the replacement also is an every week starter. But like Fab said, maybe he's 14 points a week instead of 16 or 17. Just insert their role here. Then I have the other group, which are like the different versions of the starter players I like. Fabs mentioned Mason, Davis in Buffalo. Like, are they 1 for 1 for the guy that's listed ahead of him on the depth chart? No, but they have a different role. They're a different style of player, and I like the football player in a nutshell. And then I have guys like Spears and Benson. I know Spears is hurt. That look like the heir apparent, like they're noticeably younger than the guy ahead of them. They're clearly the two, but I warn people, you get too patient with those guys. The Cardinals or Titans just draft one in the second round next year and crush your dreams. You know what I mean? So that can be a little bit volatile. And then I have the Jags all by themselves. Like, I wouldn't mind 2 of the 3 Jags, just hoping one hits, Yeah.
And I have one more tier, and it's the guys that are waiting for an injury just to have a role, like Keaton Mitchell for Baltimore, right? Like, I don't think Keaton Mitchell is going to get more than 3 carries a game if Derrick Henry's healthy. But if Derrick Henry were to go down, Keaton Mitchell's not going to be the 1-for-1 replacement. But suddenly I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting 12 carries and Justice Hill's getting 5 or 6. And now he's part of a committee. And I think for someone like Keaton Mitchell, who is incredibly talented, that's maybe all he needs to be fantasy and dynasty relevant.
High volume, high value touches, explosive players,
good
offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some trading strategies. Should you trade with other contenders in your dynasty leagues? We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. This is Mazda's moving the game forward moment, brought to you by those who believe. It's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than just win. They push what's possible. They remind us why we go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep moving the game forward. I can't wait for the highlight plays that are going to come out of week 1. Like, we always get a lot of fun moments, and that's what makes the NFL so special. You never know what you're going to see on your screen in any given week. And that's what keeps fans and players alike moving forward, also always chasing that next great moment. And when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode is brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow, and over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. And if you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. I mean, I know there's a lot of times around my house where I need a part. I don't want to wait a week to get this project done. Supply House is always there when you need them. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Matt, let's get to this next question from Dylan. He wants to know, I struggle trading with other contenders in my Dynasty leagues. Matt, what do you say about that? Do you when you trade, do you worry about the other teams, or are you only worried about your team?
Two angles I want to take on this is, let's say you're a contender, I'm a contender, 12-team league, and we have a deal brewing that's going to make both of us better, and we both know it. I usually am fine with that because the other 10 teams in the league go, crap, and now we might be out of it. You know, if I can eliminate 10 teams and narrow it down to me versus you, even though I made you better, I'll roll the dice with that, give myself basically a 50% chance to win this league. And of course, disaster could hit any team, any given week, but we know that. That's baked in. So if I hurt 10 people to help one, I'm usually in favor of that. If a team is way better than everybody else and I'm just giving them the missing piece, I think the rest of the league kind of hates you, and you better get an awesome deal for it. Like, all he needs is a quarterback. He's been starting Sam Darnold, but everything else is loaded, and you hand him Jaden Daniels for a future first or something. Like, that might not be the best move out there. But rule of thumb, if it makes my team better, I'll trade with Satan.
Did you say Satan? I didn't know he played fantasy football.
I was waiting for the Jerry Jones joke, guys, but go ahead.
Oh, God. Let's not talk about Gary Beelzebub Jones.
Go ahead.
I tend to agree, but for me, like, I will never make a trade that I don't win, or at least is fair for both teams in my mind. Now, I might tell them, you're robbing me. Oh my God, you're just going to win the league now, because I'm a salesman, and, sometimes I'm full of, what, and I'm trying to get a deal done. But if a trade is going to help my team and it's going to help the team of a contender, I'm assuming that I'm getting better in a spot where I'm weak, and they're getting it better in a spot where they're weak. So I kind of just think it's a, trade-off, right? I mean, for lack of a better term, because I'm always looking to get better, even if it's making a deal with a team that I may have to worry about in the playoffs, because I've gotten better. They've gotten better. We're already contending teams already. So if I can make my squad better, I'm never going to make anybody else's squad better and hurt mine. Trades tend to go in weird directions, right? I mean, so you never really know, but at the time, on the surface, the trade either is going to benefit me or it is going to benefit both teams. And I'm not going to lose that trade when it's consummated. So I don't mind. And you know me, I love to trade. I had a trade offer. I told Marcus, somebody offered me Ray Davis because I have James Cook for a second rounder. I'm like, go pound sand. I ain't giving you a second rounder for a backup running back who might be in a committee if James Cook gets hurt. Like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I said I may part with a third for that, and the team wouldn't do it. So I says, nope, I'm out. So I'm always trying to get at least the better end of the deal slightly at some level, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I want fair trades. I want to be offered fair trades. I want to make fair trades. And if I rob somebody, well, that's a happy accident.
I would say in a vacuum, I don't care about trading with another contending team. Like, again, I want to make my team better. But Matt, there's always a team or two in your league that you just don't want to see win, and you don't want to see their team getting better. I mean, listen, I know.
I think I'm offering that team.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be that team, right?
Yeah. You honestly,
tired of sending my money to Williamson, right?
Exactly. You don't want to be the team where,
I want it to be popular.
Exactly. So there are times where I'm like, you know what, this guy could really use this player, and I need a couple of these guys, but screw him. I don't want him to win the championship, so I'm not giving him what he needs. I'll go to trade with somebody else, and maybe I don't get quite as good of a trade offer. But again, no, in general, you're trying to improve your team, and if a trade is out there that makes you better, do it.
So what do you think, though, the one scenario I threw out there? One team's a powerhouse, but they're missing one thing. You're always mad at the guy that sends them the one thing.
Oh, all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's I had a draft last night that happened, and this team really needed a quarterback in our dynasty league, and there was one left. I was hoping that everybody would freeze him out and bid up, and of course he got the quarterback, and we all just groaned. And it's just so, yeah, I agree. Like you also need to be like competitive and think about what angles are going to help you get to the championship, and if it means not giving that other team the running back they need or the wide receiver they need, I'm okay not doing the trade, even if it benefits you.
I also think you can tax them on it too. Like someone's running away with the league. They lose their starting quarterback in week 12. I have an extra. He's worth a second-round pick, but give me 2 seconds and you can have him,
Yes. I also say for that team, I want them to overpay. If they're another contender, I want to make sure that I'm definitely getting the better end of the deal. But this is what makes trading so much fun. There's so many different angles and different motives for each team. That's why we enjoy trading so much, Fabs.
I absolutely love it. I'm looking to make trades now, to be quite honest with you, because I'm just addicted to it, sort of. If you're not trading, you're not trying. Always trying to win a trade. Why would you not? But in a situation where you're making a deal where a contending team maybe even gets better, you also have to factor in with the conversation that comes back to the team that's not the contender, help them long term. You know what I mean? We see that all the time, like, in baseball, for example. A team trades a closer because that team has a shot to get to the World Series. I remember the Cubs back in the day with the Yankees trading Aroldis Chapman, and the Yankees getting back, some prospects that ended up obviously, Gleyber Torres. So there's certain situations like that where everyone else in the league may be like, well, what the hell did you do that for? You just made that team better. Well, long term, my team needs some help, and I think this helps me long term.
Matt, wouldn't it be nice if our baseball team, made some trades to actually get better?
That's funny.
Oh, whatever. All right, let's talk about 2-for-1 trades. Should you do them? How do you do them? We will get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and you can already feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone is out researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. And if you haven't joined a league yet, now is the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran creating your millionth league. And with season kickoff on September 4th, now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers so many fun ways to compete, including the new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode, where the lowest scoring team is eliminated each week until there's only one team left standing. And if you want to play instantly with friends, try the new Draft with Friends mode. And if you prefer the classics, get your crew together and go into a head-to-head private league. And if there's no crew, no problem. Join a public league, the easiest way to play. The NFL season kicks off on September 4th. So don't wait. Start your league today. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Like, I love to bet on the futures market. Like, I think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I've already placed that bet. I like betting on who I think is going to be the MVP or the Defensive Player of the Year or who's going to throw for the most passing yards. FanDuel allows you to do it all. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add just a little bit more energy and excitement to your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That is FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen of the day. It's not too late to binge every Locked On Division preview. Be the most informed NFL fan in an 8-episode series, bringing you every division winner, breakout star, and Super Bowl contender. Find the link in the description to the Locked On NFL playlist on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Matt, our last question here comes from Tyler. He says, I have a really hard time doing the 2-for-1 trades where I'm trading away the best player. Is that an okay thing to have? Philosophy is to never trade away, never do 2-for-1s. What are the value in these trades?
Well, first off, we kind of just talked about how much we love trading, and that's one of the reasons we do this. I mean, I think it's a blast. And I do think if you're a very active owner and you make a lot of trades, obviously it can bite you, but I look at it like this. If I could turn 99 cents into $1 and do it 20 times over the course of a year, as opposed to doing it 10 times, well, my team's going to improve. I mean, I trust myself. I wouldn't say yes to the deal if I wasn't getting the deal at the side I like better. So if I only make a 1% win, but I do it often, I think that's well worth your time. But when you're giving up the true stud, I think I want to turn 99 cents into $1.10. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm going to have a little bit of a tax because they're just hard to come by. You don't trade Micah Parsons. You know what I mean?
Michael Williamson.
Matt.
Too soon?
Oh,
Too soon.
Okay.
don't get me started on that. Just disgusting. I always want to get the best player in a trade, at least in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I am notorious for sending out 2-for-1s. Notorious. I will send 2-for-1s out all day long. If I can trade 2 good players for 1 great one, I'm in like Flynn. I will absolutely do it. I typically will not take the 2-for-1, honestly, because I want to get the best player. And I think that's all in my draft philosophy as well, is like trying to balance a roster and build so much depth that I can go ahead and try and sell 2 players for an elite type player or a better player. And so that's one of my like specialties. Let's just put it that way. I love putting together 2-for-1s and trying to talk somebody else into taking them, because I get it. You're trading away a top-notch talent, but look at these 2 players you're getting. Like, very good. So, you know, I'm trying to think of something like off the top of my head where
I got a trade for you. I got one that I actually just did 2 days ago. So I traded Puka Nacua for Xavier Worthy and Drake London. Okay. Now
let's see. So you got back Drake London, and I mean,
yes.
I don't think London.
You should be wearing a hamburger outfit because you robbed that person.
But so I just want to say,
London and Puka Nacua are worth
comparable. Yeah.
Each other straight up.
I will say this is something that Ryan McDowell has taught me over the years: is try to have multiple ways that you can win a trade. And what he's meant by that is, let's say you are trading like a Puka and you get, let's say it's Drake London and a 1st-round pick. I'm just making this up, right? there's a lot of different ways in which you can win that trade. Maybe Drake London just outperforms Puka, or maybe that first round pick ends up becoming somebody that you draft that outperforms Puka, or maybe together, these guys, they fill 2 spots on your roster. You improve a bench spot or a flex spot. Boom. That's the way you win. I'm more open to the 2-for-1 trade than I used to be. I used to always be about trying to collect as many studs as possible, but I think the best way to build a dynasty powerhouse is by doing some of these. And if you hit on your first round pick, or if you hit on the 2 players that you acquire, that's how you can really build a team that's hard to beat.
But see, in that situation, though, you won with the 2-for-1 because you can trade Drake for Puka straight up. And not only did you do that, but you also acquired another player.
Yeah,
so
a good player, right?
I don't think most people are going to do that, to be quite honest with you.
You just got the better end of that deal.
Yeah, but I think there's other ways that you can do it. Let's say, again, here's a recent trade for Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? If you had Amon-Ra St. Brown, that one got broken down into Lad McConkey and JSM. Now, there's a pretty big gap, at least in our minds, between Lad McConkey and Amon-Ra. But now you're getting 2 guys that we value as top 15 dynasty receivers. Like, I think that's how you would accomplish a 2-for-1.
I love the conversation about having multiple paths to win, because
Yes.
you go all in on one dude. We've all been there and it hurts, sometimes when you don't hit. But I also trust myself to find more Lad McConkeys with the 10th pick in my rookie draft through the 15th pick in my rookie draft and trade 2 of them for Jamar Chase, because I don't ever have the 1-1 because I'm too good of an owner to have the 1-1. I don't ever get Bijan or Genty or Jamar Chase, because I don't pick early enough in my rookie draft. But I trust myself now and in the future to mine the McConkeys of the world because I'm good at what I do. You know what I mean? And then last thing, and I can't stress this enough, I feel like we should talk about it every show. Roster space is just so important in Dynasty too. I mean, if you're a good owner, you don't have wasted roster space. A 3-for-1, a 2-for-1, sometimes it can be hard to stomach, to get to fit in.
Yeah, so that part of it does matter a lot. If you're in a short bench league, 2-for-1s can be killer. They can also be super helpful if you're trying to free up spots. I want to use a Jamar Chase trade, Matt, that actually just happened 2 days ago. This one is Jamar Chase for Drake London, a 2026 first-round pick, and a 2027 first-round pick. Would you do that if you're trying to do a 2-for-1, 3-for-1, if you're trying to break Jamar Chase down?
Yes, especially if I'm not contending right now. I mean, those 2 future firsts are going to be really useful. If I don't think I can win it this year, London's a really nice piece.
He is a nice player.
And then I've got at least 2 firsts in each of the next 2 drafts, kind of like the Cowboys, and go from
and say, is Drake London the equivalent to Kenny Clark?
Kenny Clark and Drake London. I mean, yeah. I would do that. I would do that deal too. Listen, Drake London was the wide receiver 5 last year.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
And he's really young. And, he's going to have a nice rapport with Michael Penix Jr. I think we started to see that at the end of last year. And listen, I love Jamar Chase. Don't get me wrong. But if somebody's going to overpay, that's a lot, dude. Like, if you said Drake and a first for Jamar, I'd still be like,
would you have done that? I probably wouldn't do that if I was the Jamar Chase owner.
But especially if it's the Packers first, it's going to be like 32nd overall,
we might have to just end this podcast.
I'm going to get a Micah Parsons Packers jersey and wear it next week.
Well, we will be looking for a new co-host here in the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, which you can find on YouTube or wherever you download your podcast. He is Michael Fabiano, begrudgingly. That's Matt Williamson. Follow him on Twitter at Williamson NFL. I'm at Marcus _Mosher, and we will see you guys right back here tomorrow.